Hello there, this is Josh Hendry with another drawing tutorial. This one actually comes from a request from Kitronics 111. He's a beatboxing, harmonica playing guy, and he's actually really talented, so if you get a chance, check him out. This is what he wrote to me. He said, I was having a bit of trouble with the anatomy in a pose. For instance, if I drew someone holding an object or a ruler, etc., the arm would look deformed, or even the whole body pose would look odd. If you can help me, that would be very nice. Thanks. Okay, Kitronics, I'm going to do my best to help you. A lot of times, let's say for instance, you gave the idea of someone holding an object or a ruler, etc. Okay, so first of all, let's start with kind of a ruler shape, and I'm just going to kind of draw this really quick, and I'm drawing it with ballpoint pen, which might not be the smartest thing because I can't really erase, but there's my ruler shape. The hand, it naturally is going to fit into the hand in a certain way. For instance, I've got a ruler here, and I'm going to put it in my hand, and let's take a look at this. Okay, my hand is going to grasp around that ruler, and the way, you know, if I'm holding it like this because I'm walking down the hallway, that's one thing. If I'm holding it like this because I'm about to use it and set it down, obviously the hand behaves according to how I'm holding it. So there are a couple of different positions that a ruler would feel comfortable in my hand. One in the creases of the knuckle is probably the one that I feel most comfortable with, to the tips of my fingertips when I'm getting ready to lay it down. Okay? And then if I'm walking down the hallway, obviously it's going to be a little bit different. This is going to be more like if I were holding, you know, a weapon or something like that. You might get kind of a fist type shape going. And depending on which angle you're viewing the hand, that's going to also affect obviously which part of the arm you see, which part of the wrist, however that's going to be. It then moves to your elbow and your shoulder. So a lot of different things are affected depending on what it is. Sometimes with anatomy you can be looking at this side of the hand and you'll be looking at this part of the wrist, and just the fact that you've combined this view of a wrist with this angle of the hand will really make your arm look jacked up. So you have to make sure that the body parts are kind of lining up, and they do hold to while they bend and everything. They're not just completely 180 degrees like a G.I. Joe able to twist around. So you've kind of got to look and study a little bit what you've got here. So if I've got this ruler kind of on this angle, okay, I've sort of drawn it on this angle, then I'm going to draw the hand, you know, around it. So if I'm doing like a fist, then this is going to be the section from here to here on my hand, this first line that I draw, and then as I move over here, this is going to be the other side of the hand. So this is where it's kind of intersecting. I've got this fatty part of my hand right here, and I'm just kind of drawing that sort of crease right there, and then I've got the crease of the knuckle that kind of carries around. Now I'm going to draw the cylinders of this, 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 and this, even though you can't see them. I've got a cylinder here that's kind of making up, that's the bone basically that's under my skin, that goes from the top knuckle to that joint right there, this second knuckle. And then I've got another one right here. It's going to be slightly larger and more pronounced. It's going to come out maybe a little bit further. Then I've got another one here for this finger, and then finally I've got my little pinky guy over there, which is the smallest of all four of these. Okay, so that's kind of visually what's happening. These bones are kind of resting right on the edge of that ruler. There's a little bit of meat in there for the padding, but that's basically the shape, and that's how we get to these parts of the knuckle. So it's really important that you are able to see that. So I may zoom in here, kind of take a look at that, and hopefully that will make sense. Okay, now from here I've got my thumb, okay, and I've got this cylinder, and it's basically shooting out the same direction as this. It's kind of following the line of here and here. So this is parallel, that's parallel, that's parallel, that's parallel. All those lines are kind of shooting the same direction. This knuckle curls back and under, and this thumb ends up, if you could see on the other side, there ends up being a thumb joint that's kind of right around in here. You only see this bottom part of it because the ruler's blocking it, and then this finger kind of comes over here and you get that portion of that. Alright, and then you've got your wrist here. It's going to kind of join up with this fatty part, and it's more like an oval or elliptical shape. This, you've got kind of this connection here, Okay, and so then this ruler is darkened in like this. Hopefully it will kind of fill in that ruler shape. Oh, and this is going to be on top of the finger there. Now you can start to see how the hand should look. Okay, so in a future video I'll probably draw something in pencil so I can erase a little bit, but I wanted this to be really easy to see. So that's just a quick hand drawing on a ruler, and I did that just by looking at my hand. If I wanted to draw a different sort of position, like maybe I like this a little bit better, I'm going to take my hand off screen here and I'm just going to kind of draw this real quick. Okay, and that's just the basic rectangular shape of all of my kind of fingers. I've got this thumb that's kind of locking over and going over this last finger, and I've still got that cylinder shape, but it's a little bit more from a side view, so I don't have to pronounce it quite as much. Now I don't want my thumb coming all the way over here, so I've got to kind of figure out it's lining up with right about here on the ruler. So I'm looking at that relationship. It's got a little bit of a curve up to it, and then it comes down here and curves down there. So this is pretty much a straight shot. Where it meets up with that, you've got kind of, wow, I'm drawing on myself, I'm a canvas, and you just kind of carry that line over. Now this is a fat and meaty part, and you can tell even the veins and the skin as it stretches over, all that is kind of corresponding to the shape that's happening in there. That's why sometimes you see when people use pen like I'm using, they'll kind of do like a cross hatching that makes the shading look like it's happening along the finger. It's like, well, that arc that they get with their cross hatching is really serving to define the shape and making it look rounded and bulbous and meaty there. Okay, so I've got this little finger. He's kind of tucked back in here, and he's you can see part of it. The knuckle here is kind of, they sort of join up a little bit here. You've got kind of some contact in there, and then this guy starts to bend back. Okay, so he's right around there on the thumb, and then this guy sort of wants to separate and come down here. So let's see, I get that little shape and that little kind of, I'm looking at these kind of spacings here as they happen, and then this pinky doesn't even touch the fatty part of the hand there. So I've kind of broken these four sections up visually, and hopefully I'm getting sort of close to what that relationship should be. Again, the thumb and the finger should have a certain size relationship to them, as well as to the ruler, that makes some sense. So let's see if here's our ruler coming out of the hand, meaty back part of the pinky, and I'm constantly adjusting as I go. Very rarely do I get it right. That's why you see a bunch of lines throughout this process. Now what's interesting about the pinky and this knuckle is they almost line up perfectly. That relationship is really important. And then when I get to this hand, it jumps over here, and then over to here again there's another jump. And so you've got to kind of look at those relationships to make it believable. So this kind of overlaps this finger a little bit and tucks under, and then this finger overlaps your pinky a little bit. And let's see here. This hand actually comes down here, back to my original square that I had. And I think starting to get somewhere that's sort of okay. And of course this is really awkward because nobody's ever looking from this view unless they're holding a ruler in their hand and drawing their own. And hopefully that's been helpful. Definitely give me a response if it was good. Let me know. If you need further details on it, please feel free. I will try to make another video for you. Also, just want to mention really quickly, I do have a book coming out in October called The Legend of Harapan, and I will be putting that out there in comic book size issues. It is a graphic novel, so there'll be anywhere from, I guess, 20 to 30 pages in each issue.